Hello, ladies and gentlemen, gabestah here. Today we are looking at the Psi-lence is Golden achievement, which is part of the Mastery achievement series in Heart of the Swarm. This requires that you complete all objectives in less than 12 minutes in the Harvest of Screams mission on hard difficulty or higher. So it is really a time-based achievement, obviously, and you're really up against the clock. So suggestions for Kerrigan's build are seen here. Particular importance are twin drones for higher drone count, obviously, better economy, and automated extractor for the same reason. I also would highly recommend kinetic blast and crushing grip, although you can go with leaping and psionic as well, but don't go for heroic fortitude or chain reaction. And then mend I find is really useful for healing everything. For the army build, the only thing that I would say is required is Zergling Raptor Evolution Strain. This is one of the main components for this achievement guide here and how you're going to do it. You could also arguably use Banelings that are Hunter Strain, but since you have to use Zerglings to get Banelings, it seems kind of wasteful. And then you also want Adrenal Overload for more DPS on your Zerglings. Metabolic Boost kind of would perform the same role, but I think Adrenal is better for this particular case. So with those basic guidelines out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. So as you begin the mission, you have this little section where you're just running with Kerrigan and a few random Zerg units, trying to find some Ursidon Matriarch Essence. So this part's very basic. You just want to be as quick as possible, so don't be afraid to let your Zerglings go ahead. You can use your abilities through the wall there, so you can easily get the enemies down. And once you have this pair down, rush your Zerglings ahead to get close to that ice, and it will trigger the next sort of pseudo cutscene where you get frozen and whatnot. You don't have to wait for Kerrigan, who's going to be a lot slower. There we go, and there's the freeze. So you don't have to worry too much about keeping your units alive. It's a good idea. They will continue into the next section, but it's not dire that they're all alive here. So you should be able to use AE stun on everything. Don't forget to use your blast on the big Ursidon Matriarch. And there we go. So most everything survived. I think a Zergling died. And then once again, rush up here. You have to get Kerrigan onto that marker, so you can just move your units out of the way of her so she doesn't get slowed down at all. And then once you activate the base, you should have a checkpoint save, but I would manually save as well, because the first part is very easy. You shouldn't really waste much time there. But once you get into the base section, you're going to want to practice this part probably. So the basic idea here is to immediately start building drones with your double drones. Get an extractor going right away, because with automated extractor, obviously you want to get that gas started as soon as you can for the cost of one drone. And then hide your units. Don't forget you can use F2 to easily select them. Just stick them right behind your spine crawler at the top there. I forgot a little bit, but make sure you spread your creep right away. This will just get you to move out a little bit faster when that time comes. And otherwise, just babysit your larva. You want to be building a drone as soon as you can. Now, once you have enough minerals while still continuously building drones, throw down another hatchery in your base here. So I put it on the top left there. And then make sure you hotkey your new base with the rest of them. Now once this wave of zealots come in, stun the ones that initially engage your spine crawler, and then have your army kill the 3 or 4 on the top right. You can ignore the rest because they're frozen, and the spine crawler will finish them all off by itself. So you don't waste time on using your army there. Then run your army up to the top right and start just attack move up there. And while that's happening, build 2 Evo chambers down here. Again, if you're used to it, hotkey those so you can easily select them later on. And then come back to your army at the Protoss base in the top right and try to focus down units first. Generally, your AI should target them if they're nearby. And once the units are basically cleaned up, get the pylons to prevent more warpins. And then once the freeze ends, grab a bunch of drones in your base. You don't have to move them at all, just highlight them. And then in the top right, build 2 hatcheries and 2 extractors right away. You should have enough money for that. From this point forward, you want to keep building drones so that you're going to have enough to saturate the second mineral patch when your hatchery completes. And you should start your upgrades if you haven't already shortly after this. So you want the melee upgrades. So you want melee damage and armor for your units. You don't have to worry about the ranged upgrade since Zerglings are going to be your primary source of damage here and how you do most things. So once those base buildings are dropped down, get ready for another wave of Protoss shortly after, around the 1 minute mark. There they are. And make sure you stun those zealots. Use your heal a lot so that your army gets healed by Kerrigan. And then keep moving up here. You can get these extra deposits of minerals and gas. And then keep building. At this point, you're going to want to start building drones in the top right. And you'll see, even with a lot of drones being built, I have a ton in my main, so just transfer some of those over. So the timing in this whole section here is probably the tightest, the most difficult. What you really want to do is get that matriarch down, collect the essence with Kerrigan before the next freeze occurs. So if you're getting it just as that freeze happens, that should be just fine. Now, select all your units. You should be building Zerglings at this point since you have plenty of drones. And right-click that second Psi-lence spire. So all your army attacks that directly. Don't attack move or they'll engage Protoss in the way. Once you specifically attack with everything on that spire, then hit F3 to select Kerrigan only and move her to the marker that is indicated for the next matriarch. So you're letting your army kill the spire while you move Kerrigan past all the Protoss and to the matriarch. Now, once the spire is dead, move your entire army out and back to your base because that freeze is going to end shortly and you don't want them all to just be in the Protoss area and die. So most of your army can try to escape. It probably won't. It just depends on the timing. But the idea is to try to get your army out while Kerrigan gets through to the matriarch area. So you can see here, Kerrigan's safe over here outside the Protoss base. And you can kill a few of the Ursidon that aggro. And then just come up top when you have enough energy and just kill everything that's up here with Kerrigan. It's really easy. Just use your abilities every time they come up. And then you should get the matriarch down and get the final essence. So now you have one objective left. At this point, just let Kerrigan die. It doesn't matter. She'll just respawn back at base after a minute. So you have a big Protoss wave. Your Zergling should be able to take care of this easily, but there is some air units that will come in. So now you have enough extra minerals. As long as you have 20 or 30 Zerglings, you basically are home free now. So I built some defenses at home because there's going to be a wave of units coming in while you're out. But everything else you can just keep at the front here. So when there's about 20 seconds left on the next flash freeze, start moving your Zerglings out. If they have speed, then you're going to want to wait maybe to 10 seconds because they'll go a lot faster. But if they don't have speed, move them at 20 seconds. And you can see as we leaped up into the Protoss base, the freeze hit. And that's the perfect timing. And then you right-click them on that final Psi-lence spire. And they'll surround it and take it down really quickly. And that's it. So now you'll have the achievement, and really it's all about the timing to get between the second matriarch and get Kerrigan over to that first matriarch and get Kerrigan to the second matriarch in that 60-second freeze window that you have. So just practice the early parts and eventually you'll get it. So good luck and thanks for watching.